Long before WhatsApp was a household name, long before green chat bubbles connected millions of people across oceans, there was a teenager named Jan Koum, a Ukrainian immigrant who arrived in the United States at 16 with his mother, carrying only a few bags and a world of uncertainty. He grew up in Mountain View, California, in a tiny apartment where his mom worked odd jobs and they survived on food stamps. And though life was tough, Jan discovered something that felt like magic: computers. He spent countless hours at the public library devouring computer books, teaching himself to write code late into the night. With a donated computer set up in a garage, he experimented, failed, and learned, pushing through the isolation one line of code at a time. There were no big tech mentors, no expensive classes, just pure grit and a stubborn dream to create something of his own, something that could bridge the distance he felt every time he thought of home. And slowly but surely, those tiny experiments began to feel like something bigger. By his early 20s, Jan was working at Yahoo as a security engineer, a self-made programmer who'd fought his way into Silicon Valley. But he never forgot what it was like to grow up poor and disconnected. He kept thinking about his father back in Ukraine, about all the people who had no easy way to stay in touch. And that seed, the need to connect across borders, kept growing. So after long days at Yahoo, he'd return to his tiny workspace and sketch an idea: a simple messaging app that didn't care about flashy features or ads, an app that just helped people talk to the ones they loved. And what happened next would change the way the world communicated forever. By 2009, Jan Koum had teamed up with his friend Brian Acton, both former Yahoo employees, both driven by the same vision of a clean, simple communication tool. With laptops balanced on makeshift desks in a small garage in California, they wrote code for hours every day, fueled by instant noodles, passion, and stubborn belief. No advertising, no gimmicks, no games. Just one clear mission: create a messaging app that worked across borders without crazy fees or flashy distractions. And as the first version of WhatsApp began to take shape, those two self-taught engineers had no idea they were about to change everything. When they released WhatsApp on the App Store, growth was slow at first. But one by one, people around the world began to download it, and they told their friends. Suddenly, Jan would look at his phone and see tiny spikes in usage. Dozens of people here, hundreds there, then thousands. WhatsApp was becoming the bridge he'd always wished for, connecting families across continents for pennies. And as servers began to strain under surging demand, the garage felt less like a hobby space and more like the nerve center of a quiet revolution. By 2012, WhatsApp was on millions of phones worldwide, in the hands of students, parents, workers, people who just wanted to talk without limits. Its success wasn't built on glossy ads or paid promotions. It was built on word of mouth and trust, something simple that worked for everyone, everywhere. And as Jan Koum watched his app grow into a global sensation, he knew they'd created more than a product. They had built a way for people to hold on to one another, no matter the distance. And all of it began with one teenager who sat in a garage. By 2014, WhatsApp had exploded. Over 450 million active users across every corner of the globe. And then came the phone call that would change everything forever. Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook wanted to buy WhatsApp for $19 billion. It was a staggering sum, especially for a company that had never taken a dime from advertising. But Jan Koum had never been driven by money or fame. He'd built WhatsApp for connection, to make sure no one had to feel as cut off as he once had as a boy in a tiny apartment. And when the deal was signed, Koum made sure to do it outside the same small welfare office where he'd once picked up food stamps, a quiet tribute to where he began. Today, WhatsApp is a part of daily life for billions. The green chat bubbles lighting up phones in every time zone.